Ciao Italia, this is Isaac and that's
Mark from EPICA.
And you are watching Linea Rock.
Woo! And listening.
2 years and a half since the last album, The Quantum Enigma, and which was an heavier record, which was more experimental than ever before, more baroque, and and also it was your most successful album ever. So I guess it was a big challenge to get back in the studio more than ever this time. Pressure, there was pressure. Ok, let's start with this. Cominciamo da questo, appunto, capire se c'è stata un po' di pressione in studio durante le registrazioni.
It was not necessarily the pressure from the people, even though there was also pressure because people expect a lot after that album, but mainly the pressure we put on our own shoulders. We wanted to make a better album, and we challenge ourselves and each other to make that happen.
So this time, also you, Isaac, of course. This time, did you work any differently on the tracks while writing and recording? Maybe as a team this time, just to spread different influences, or I don't know.
Well, I think, as you mentioned, the Quantum Enigma, the previous album, was quite a good album, I still think, and people received it very well. And actually, we kind of had a EPICA 2.0 with that album because we changed the producer, the studio,
many things.
Yeah, many things. Also, how we wrote as a band, a more group effort. And for last time, it was the first time to do that. It was very challenging and we didn't know what to expect. This time we knew if we work with the same team, it's going to be, we know what's coming our way.
And you know that it works.
And we know that it worked, but you never know. But anyway, so we decided to have the same team around us, same approach. However, you can look back at that previous album, and I think there's three main differences with the new album. And the first is the metal band. We got into the rehearsal room with just drums, guitars and bass, and then made sure that the basic structure of the songs were also really good. If you leave all the orchestration, the choirs and all that, if you leave it away, so much more detailed as a metal band, and as you already said, a little heavier again. For some reason we tend to get heavier. And then the second one is the orchestration itself, only real instruments this time, and you really hear that it's more dynamic, organic. So yeah, that was a good decision too. And then the third one is the vocals. I think they, more than ever before, also a group process. We try to find new ways to incorporate the music with the vocals and make everything like a big puzzle fall into place. So those three things are the big changes from the last album.
And also, we noticed listening to the album, because we could listen to it all, even if we cannot put it on the radio, but there's also the solo are heavier this time, and is it correct? It depends also on the process that you changed in recording.
Well,
and
concerning the solos, I actually, for the first time, I pre-produced the solos as well. So in the past, I would just go in the studio.
Okay.
I had kind of maybe a skeleton of what I would do, but it was kind of up to the moment. And this time I did it before actually, like during songwriting, I also wrote the solo parts for my songs and whichever song needed it. And so I think they're more worked out and a little more overthought, so to speak. And I'm not sure if they're heavier, but the band itself is much heavier, so maybe that adds up to the whole experience. And definitely they're really technical, so I had to be on top of my game.
So we were talking about genres. The question is, you're defined as a symphonic metal band, but in the last couple of albums and also in the whole career, you try to experiment a lot. So does this tag, as symphonic metal band, start to get a little, maybe a little I don't want to say annoying, but maybe. What do you say?
When you release music, there's always a tag needed, because otherwise people don't know what to expect for people that don't know the band. But there's never a perfect tag for a band, unless you have one for yourself that nobody else uses, like I heard epic metal. Yeah. That would be EPICA. Yeah, that would be good if we can have that one for just us.
Yeah.
So let's
decide.
Let's decide that now, and also agree with all other bands. Epic metal, that's our style, and for us.
So it still fits, but I mean, you like to spread and have different.
Because, I think when you strip down on music, you have the drums, bass, and guitars left. That's really a death metal basis.
Okay.
And with just symphonic metal, you ignore that complete genre that is our whole basis of our music, especially nowadays.
The die-hard fans that are following you since the beginning, what do you think are going to find in this new record as surprising, shocking? Is there any element that you're going to,
Shocking?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will find anything shocking. I think the people that kept following us since the beginning, and then also accepted the Quantum Enigma, they will have a great time with the new album. But of course, there's also people, they say we love the first album, and ever since EPICA drifted away from our taste, they're probably not gonna like the new album, because that's not going towards the first album.
After we will go back to the music, but I was wondering, with Simone, do you cuddle or spoil her in a sense? Because, she is like considered the best symphonic metal singer.
Let's get that clear. She spoils our innocence, and she's doing that already for many years, but we're still putting our feet in the sand a bit. So, but yeah. Without laughing, without kidding, she's pretty much a guy with many things, especially her sense of humor. And sometimes we are even a bit shocked with the things she says. So don't worry about that.
Okay, can you laugh? Marco was asking. So the new albums is more melodic, also in the vocals arrangements, and Actually, Simone seems to go in a different range this time, less operatic and more pop rock in a sense in the melodies. Do you agree with that? And was that intentional, or we just feel it? Isaac is okay.
Thank you, Marco. Well, I think, as I said earlier, one of the three main differences was also the voices, and not only Simone, but also the choirs again.
Yeah.
Kuhn is responsible for that. The grunts, we really put a lot of work and attention to that. And same as with the music, we don't make the same stuff as we used to do. You try as a musician, you try to develop yourself and keep yourself and the passion you have for music, keep it alive, and to do something differently from last time. And Simone is the same with that. So if we as musicians change along the way or look at it in a different perspective, then that's the same for her. Of course, add to that also Joost is on top of his game, and it's more of a group process this time than, all of that together made us kind of look for different ways to do the same thing. And sometimes a song asks for a certain way to sing, and sometimes that's sometimes the reason why it's more poppy. I wouldn't call it pop, but I want to add something, like the choirs are mostly operatic, and she's sometimes like singing on top of it, so there's still quite a lot of that, but I think now, because of that, you have more dynamics in the vocals.
Okay, so we were talking about vocals, and we talked about Simone, which is, she's the soprano, so she's in charge of the melodic parts. But you, Mark, and Arjen are in charge of the death growl parts. Okay, both of you, since actually it was you in the very first place, then the drummer also at the end. This time I read on the internet that Simone said that you worked in a different way, that you have counter melodies, that you also worked on different vocal tones, even for the growl parts. Is that correct?
For the growl, the counter melodies, I have no idea what she meant with that. But
okay.
But it's a funny story how it happened that Arjen started adding his grunts on top. We were once in a pub, and he's often in a pub. You can find him there, and he's having a good time. And then there was a Slayer song, and he started singing along. And I said, Arjen, you have really a very nice grunt. He said, you must be kidding. And I said, really cool. We should try that on the album. No. He thought really
he was shy.
He thought really I was fooling him, and he was shy. Yeah. But then I convinced him. He tried it. It was, I think, on the Requiem for an Indifferent album for the first time, if I'm correct. And we tried it, and it worked because he has a very nice, deep growl. And I think that's what maybe Simone means as well with adding another color to the grunt.
Okay.
And because of this lower, deep part, we kept doing it and experimenting with it. So on the Quantum Enigma, we did already more of that. Mm-hmm. And on this new album, we really found the perfect balance between both of our voices. And I'm sure we keep on doing it this way.
So he's darker than you? That's what you mean?
He's even more evil than I am.
Oh, wow, evil. That's the perfect description. Okay, so Universal Death Squad is the first single and first video, which is presented as a lyric video, but actually is more than that.
Yeah.
It's a video with the lyrics on, or it's a lyric video with, the band playing in it. Which is
whatever you want to call it.
Okay, it's very professional. Usually, when you read lyric video, it's gonna be something very simple. This time, it's more than that. Was that?
It started already with the last album, where Unchained Utopia was also a little more than just a lyric video. And this time we actually wanted to, the first single or the first music that people would hear, we had a lot of fun doing this album. It was a very, again, refreshing thing, like new things going on. And we were absolutely and still very pleased with the result. And we actually wanted to, not do the typical lyric video or not do the typical we're evil and metal video. So you see us smiling in this lyric video. It's like in a rehearsal room, just playing together, and we're happy to release this song to all our fans, and that's what we wanted to capture. And if it's a video with lyrics or the other way around, we don't care.
Back to the vocals, there was a second part of the previous question which we lost. I was curious about the fact, how you warm up. Since Simone sings in a range, you and Arjen in another range. Do you warm up in the same room? Do you warm up in the same way? How does it work? It's just a curious question.
It's a good question, but with the grunts, if I didn't grunt for like a month or for a long time, I definitely need to do the days before a tour some warm-ups.
Okay.
And preferably I grunt the whole set. And because if you don't do that, and the first 5-6 songs, they go always very well, but then you lose a little bit of the tone in the grunt. And but once I'm on tour, I get in that routine, and then I don't need to warm up. It's enough to do a sound check, and then for the rest of the day, it's okay. Yeah.
Does she do warm up every day?
Most of the time.
Okay.
But she's sometimes on busy days she has to do a lot. Put on her clothes, which takes longer than for us guys. Put on her makeup, and then also do the warming ups. But usually she's doing them. But just when there's some time pressure, then one of the things can be removed from the chain. But but usually yes.
She's very professional.
Not the clothes.
Not the clothes. Okay. Francesca is asking a question. A fan from home. She's writing, and she's asking maybe to both of you or each of you, if you have different, if there's any band which is your
band or artist
in the music business that is your favorite, absolutely favorite,
or in the past?
in the whole
history of music. Can be also Mozart. I don't know.
I like a few, but I think one of the bands that have left a great mark on music is Pink Floyd, and also Guns N' Roses. And from there on, I started listening to metal because of Megadeth, so they also have to be in this line. And from nowadays, I like a band like Opeth a lot.
Okay, from Sweden. Okay, allora.
Sweden, yes.
And for you, Isaac?
Vasco.
Vasco Rossi? Okay.
I have all
And Neck, va bene.
I have all his albums, and I love his guitar riffs and solos, and that's just great. It's a huge inspiration for the new album.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, I used to. I grew up with bands like Pantera, Machine Head, Rage Against the Machine, Sepultura, all these kind of bands, and then nowadays I'm really into modern thrash bands like Soilwork, Lamb of God, stuff like that. Very guitar-driven music.
So there's another song we just heard, Universal Death Squad, which is the first single, but there's another song called Universal Love Squad that's going to be on the second CD, and it's going to be acoustic track. Are the two tracks connected in a sense, or is it once again a matter of contrast? Black and white, acoustic and metal. Are they connected in any sense? Who's answering? Okay,
I can answer. We can both answer. But the second album on that, it's a bonus disc, and it contains only acoustic tracks, and actually they all are connected to songs on the album because they're simply acoustic versions of those songs. So it's basically an acoustic version of what you just heard.
Okay.
But this time we kind of challenged ourselves a little more, because usually you would take the sort of ballad tracks and just make it even more intimate. And this time we wanted to go maybe more for the really heavy songs and then strip them down all the way. So it was good fun. Yeah.
So Universal Death Squad, Giovanni. Okay, is asking, is a very technical song, which has a very progressive approach. So does it come, is there any in the band that is mainly influenced by progressive rock or progressive metal? Let's see. Isaac.
Well, it took me years to finish that song. That's the first thing I have to admit. So, like, usually if I start writing pretty fastly, I can wrap up the basic of the song. And this was a nightmare, it took me forever. I think the first try I did was 2010.
Wow.
And it didn't make it on the Requiem for the Indifferent album, didn't make it on the last album, but it made it on this album.
Finally,
so it took me a couple of years. But so it's indeed pretty technical, but I don't know, I'm influenced, like I used to practice as a teenager Dream Theater stuff, and I had... Mostly if I went to the music store as a teenager and I saw this progressive album cover, like you could tell it was a progressive album. I would never listen to it, I'd just take it, and so I discovered a lot of these bands like Rush and Yes.
Which record was that one?
The one I just...
Yeah, the one that you picked.
That I picked now, just...
No, the one that
I did it every month I went there and I just picked...
that first one that you saw.
First one.
That one...
I can't remember. Can't remember. But anyway, I was I also played in a progressive band, and it's not like I'm thinking now I need a progressive song or something, but it just kind of happens because I'm influenced by a lot of these bands, I guess.
So Chiara is asking if there's gonna be a second single from the end. Which song
before
will it be?
The album go out, right?
Pretty soon, but we cannot reveal the name of the song yet.
Okay.
That's
Però
the big
Chiara,
surprise.
ci sarà un'altra canzone.
But this week, probably.
Oh, this week.
Yeah, you never know for sure. But
Okay.
Questa settimana.
Non si sa mai, ma questa
With
settimana.
video or not video?
With video.
Con il
With
video.
video.
Quindi arriverà Tra poco, fine
So
settimana.
really-
Finally, we will be evil and true metal.
Okay,
Li hanno
so
apprezzati.
Vitale is asking from
Napoli.
from Napoli, south of Italy, is asking, since you're a symphonic metal band with choir and a lot of vocals, if Queen is one of your influences, if it's a band that you admire.
Maybe not an influence for me personally, but it's definitely one of the greatest bands on earth, I think. Also I saw once a documentary how they recorded all their stuff, and it's just mind-blowing for that time what they did, all their recording tricks and all that. I mean, nowadays it's common knowledge, but they kind of started as one of the first bands to layer stuff on top of each other.
So they're asking if the 17th of January 2017 in Trezzo will be the only Italian show, or if you are actually planning more shows in Italy.
No, we never will come back. It's the last show we're gonna do.
No, that will be just one show for this tour, or maybe you're gonna add some other cities like Rome. He's asking, please come to Rome and play here.
Yeah, last year we played Rome, right? So we have to be everywhere, everyone wants us, and so we could only do one, but of course we'll be back in Italy. But at this moment we don't know yet.
So a lot of different versions of the CD are going to be available.
Yes.
The earbook version is quite strange with, the third, audiolibro, la tradotta, with all the instrumental versions, a third CD in it.
Because many people ask for that. They want to sing along. They want to and then put it on YouTube. So it's for fans who would like to do some karaoke. A nice extra.
And also we're curious about the gadget that will be in the box set.
Yeah, the holographic.
What's gonna be in it? I mean, which kind of gadget they can find
inside?
In the box
There is a flag, right?
I have no idea what
non lo sanno ancora, bellissimo.
Il projector holographic is an application, or?
Well, it's this kind of simple kind of pyramid upside down, and you put it on top of your smartphone, and then we have videos created, like special content, which you can see through the website on a special link. And then if you project that on this holographic projector, you'll see all kinds of stuff in 3D.
You just mentioned the theme, the concept of the album. Is that related to the previous record in a sense? It's about virtual reality, and so can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, the Quantum Enigma was dealing about that you cannot study in quantum physics without influencing its behavior of little particles. So you don't know how these particles look like or exactly how they behave without studying them, because then you only know that they behave differently. And so the next the new album is the next step. Now it's dealing about the universe might being a hologram after all. And it's a theory, and I've watched a lot of lectures from Leonard Susskind, the scientist, and he explains it very well. And also Hoofd from Netherlands, he's also very much into it. And so it's all backed up by mathematics. And I have to make a long story short.
It's very complicated.
Might be everything around us might be an illusion of.
Okay. So guys, this is the second time in your career that you used a real orchestra in the studio. And is that correct? Second, third?
In the studio is the first time.
First time, very first time. And
of course we used elements of the orchestra in the past, like the strings,
but
the choirs.
A real
but now that we recorded everything instead of using samples, is the very first time.
So which is the pros and cons, of having a huge orchestra in the studio? Did you record the entire orchestra all together? How many tracks? And was hard the work, of the producer, dealing with all this stuff?
The big pro is that you benefit a lot regarding the sound, because it's all organic, all real, and you cannot achieve that with samples, even though the samples are nowadays very good. You cannot achieve that. It's brings it up to the next level. But then, of course, it takes a lot of time. People have to write the scores. It's not cheap, I must admit. And to record it, it's better to not record the whole orchestra all together, but to record in separate sessions. Because when you record all together, there's signals getting picked up by other microphones, it's much more hard to mix it after all. So to record in different sessions, you have much more control over all the material, and the disadvantage, it takes much longer, but it's all worth it.
And also this time you used a lot of different instruments like balalaika, ukulele, and his fault as always.
Sorry.
So you like to get it complicated.
Well, it was it was on one of Koen's songs, the keyboard player, and he had this whole idea behind it to end the song in that way. So I
also tubular bells.
Oh yeah. We had one day of percussion recording, so we had a whole studio full of stuff. So it was a lot of fun, you know.
And Arjen was in charge of the percussions, or the what?
No, he was in charge of getting the beers from the store. No, he also helped, of course, but we were there were quite a lot of people in the studio that day. And but the ethnic instruments, the balalaika actually, maybe I don't know if any Russian fans are watching or listening, but it's a balalaika I actually got on tour in Russia, and I never used it. I didn't know how to tune it, and I thought, okay, I'll bring it, let's see what happens, and because I didn't know what Koen had in mind. And so I brought that one, looked up on YouTube how to tune it, what's the chords, this and that, okay, let's play it. And the same with the what else? The balalaika, mandolin. I had never touched a mandolin before.
Banjo.
And actually, it's
banjo.
from.
Not use banjo.
Banjo.
I tried it before. And the ukulele. And acoustic guitar.
Which has a very different tuning.
They're all different. And actually, a balalaika has it has 3 strings, and 2 of them are exactly the same. So you get this kind of, because they're never tuned perfectly, you kind of have this wave feeling. It's a very interesting sound.
So Christian is from Bergamo, who's already bought the ticket for the concert in January, and considers you one of the best symphonic metal band, or even metal band around. But no, it's not a problem. It's just like a new idea that he is proposing. He's asking, did you ever think about avoiding the growl parts in singing and having 2 voices, clean and melodic voices, 1 female and 1 male, which is something that has been barely tried before in symphonic metal? What do you think about it?
In the bathroom, it sounds really good, so you should give it a try.
So it's a no.
Exactly. I am not a good singer, so my girlfriend says if I would train, I would be
better singer.
Could become a tenor.
Okay.
And but it needs so much study, and I have not that ambition and not the passion to become a clean singer. Even though it would I think if you would add some clean male vocals here and there would sound okay, I think. Yeah. With Roy Kahn, we did a duet, and with Tony Kakko from Sonata Arctica. So we did some experiments in that direction already, but we don't have a voice like Roy Kahn in the band. Maybe if Isaac start training a bit more.
Some vocal demos for the new album, trying to explain to Simone, maybe try this. So I was at home.
On the 17th of January, you'll be in Milano, Trezzo sull'Adda, with the new show. The tour is starting when exactly? In December, November, or January?
October.
Will be.
Probably in October.
We already start touring in the United States. That will be the official start of the tour. before that we have 2 Epic Metal Fests.
Yes, then
and
we will talk about that, but that is another thing.
But the European tour starts in the new year. Yes,
ok,
yes.
sì, quindi con il nuovo anno. And I was asking if you already thought about the set list, if it would be a mix of old classics and the new album, or would
Definitely.
be a predominant, number of songs of the new record, and if you have anything in mind in particular special for the production, the scenography.
We're gonna play quite some new tracks on the Epic Metal Fest. I think like 2/3 or 3/4 of the album. I think it's like 2/3. And for the set list for the upcoming tours afterwards, we have to see which songs work best. Okay. And what
would be a test.
Yeah, what the people request the most, because we always listen also to what the people want, and we will also do some rotation. So one evening this song, one evening that song, and after a while you find out which are the fan favorites, which they react the most with. And it's always a bit of trial and error. But for sure, we're going to put quite some new tracks in the set list. It's refreshing for us, refreshing for the fans. And also some old tracks that we didn't play for quite a while.
Oh, good.
Also, we're going to refresh the old songs and even throw some classics out for a while. Mm-hmm. It can also be nice, because if you always do that, people start expecting them.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to surprise the people again.
Yeah, good. So Epic Metal Fest, last year you organized the first one in Eindhoven. Which was, I guess, a good experience, since you're doing it again this year. And it's going to be 2 shows, one in Tilburg and one in São Paulo, Brazil, so South America. And last year you had Moonspell, Dragon Force. This year you will have Catatonia, Stream of Passion, Textures, and a lot of other bands. Why you decided, there's a tendency now for bands to organize their own festivals, their own cruises and everything. Why, from your point of view, why you decided to do this? And is it easy, or is complex to be, promoters of yourselves and taking other bands, and dealing with all the things that usually
dealing with all the rock stuff.
That usually other persons do. So
but when you travel around the world and you do several festivals, you find out after all these years what works and what doesn't work. Okay. Some festivals are extremely well organized, and some the opposite.
Yeah.
And so we thought, let's do one ourselves. We got a lot of experience with the retrospect show, which we recorded for DVD. Mm-hmm. And with the first edition, we put everything into practice, what we've learned and what we thought works well. Also, after the festival, we did a survey, and people could send us messages, what they liked, what they didn't like, and what they didn't like. We also took into consideration how can we improve it. One of these things was they said there was not a great sound in that venue in Eindhoven. So now we moved the festival to 013, which is known for a good sound. Mm-hmm. So and there were also some small things. There was some sand in the salad. the band stole us.
We love that.
At least it was fresh. Fresh salad.
Another fun question. The name?
Giovanni.
Giovanni. Again, Giovanni is asking if there is any Italian dish that you prefer.
Pasta alla norma.
Pasta alla norma.
Pasta alla norma
from Sicilia.
Pizza, salami, piccante.
Okay.
Pizza calabrese perché...
Okay, so in the new edition of the festival will be also Flesh God Apocalypse, which is an Italian band. How did you get in touch with them? How did you discover them? And do you listen actually to our Italian metal?
Yeah, we do listen, and we every band that plays on our festival we like. We picked. Okay. Yeah, we would not book a band that we don't like ourselves, or a band that have some people that we don't like. For example, it can also happen. Fortunately, it doesn't happen that often. With most bands, we get along very well. And Flesh God is a very intense band, and we're also going to tour with them in the United States. Mm-hmm. They bring something extra to the table. They have an own group of fans And I think when you put a combination, you get some people to your festival and to the tour, for example, that wouldn't have come if we would have just booked bands that are similar to us, very similar to us. So I think they really bring some extra color to the festival, but also to the tour.
Okay, a request. So Margot, you just said that you're gonna surprise them with old classics that you don't play very often. So this is the request of Margot. Will you play in
Not
Milan?
only Margot, but many other fans.
And many
waiting.
other. She speaks
Kingdom
for
of Heaven, an idea.
A group of fans. So Kingdom of Heaven will be in the set list in Milan.
Yeah, we didn't decide the set list yet, but every suggestion we get, we definitely take into consideration.
Okay.
Thank you very much again. See you in January, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ciao, mondo.
Ciao.